Guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're starting another project. If you saw in my most recent video, I show where I went and bought a lot of stuff from a company, bought them out, and this is one of the units I bought from them. It's a 99 F450. It's gonna be my new service truck, and we did a little bit of diagnostics on it. Finally got a key for it, and it runs not well, but let's see if I can get it started. The thing I like about it, it's 6-speed. That helps out. I have been wanting to get one of those for a long time. But as you guys can see, it's got a service engine light. It's also got a battery light, which I believe obviously the alternator. But we're gonna work through those. But while it's running, you can hear it's running bad on a few cylinders. Definitely has a choppy idle, it's lopey. But one of the things I did was I pulled the valve cover harness. I'll show what I found here in a minute once I get the truck shut off. I'm gonna tear it down a little bit, but the valve cover harness was broken. It's really brittle and it fell apart. So I went ahead and got a new valve cover harness and also an injector pigtail. I'm gonna put those on and see if that clears up a couple of codes. A couple of codes I was getting was a P1216 and something else. But I ran a balance test on it, and injector 6 and injector 8 were showing issues. On the buzz test, injector 6 was showing weak. On a key off, engine off test, it was showing number 8 injector weak. I don't know if I have an injector issue or if I have a wiring issue, but we're gonna start with the wiring harness and see where that leads us. So we'll get this thing tore apart. Probably take me an hour or so to get down to the harness, and then I think I gotta take the alternator off anyways, get it checked. So I'll pull that off and do that at the same time, but we're gonna get started on that, and then hopefully this thing will be running by the end of the day. Hopefully it doesn't need an injector. It's only got 160,000 miles on it, and unless it's set for a long time and got maybe some algae in it, it should be all right. But this is kind of like my dream service truck. I'm happy to have it. I'm gonna get it running, gonna get it set up for me, and all will be well. So let me get back with you guys when I get it tore down to the valve cover. All right, guys, that didn't take long. We got down to the injector harness in about 20 minutes. Been a long time since I worked on a Power Stroke. I kind of forgot how easy at least the passenger or the driver's side is. Found something kind of interesting. So what we've got going on is we're throwing a code for number 6 buzz. It's not buzzing the way that the other ones are, which I find interesting because it looks like we've got at least 2, if not 3 different types of injectors in this truck. Number 8 injector on the Power Strokes, on those 7.3s, were always different. And I don't know if that was the way they sprayed or whatever, but when you order them, you always have to order number 8 being different. So you order 7 regular ones, and whether they be ADs and that's an AB, or these are ABs and that one's an AD, just know that number 8 is always a different part number. That being said, it looks like all these have different, like this has a different insignia on it. That one has a different insignia than all the other ones. And then this one just looks completely different. This is number 6. And I'm just looking at it. There's nothing up here on the top where all the other ones were. Same with number 8. So maybe number 8 and number 6 are the same. And then maybe these two have been changed out. I'm not entirely certain. But the reason we're going to change out the valve cover gasket at least, because it's, if you guys can see it, it's pretty janky. Been burnt. It's gotten hot. You know, it's right by the turbo, so it's seeing a lot of heat. And I took it out yesterday, and now I can't get it to unlatch. Man. Oh, there we go. Okay, so you can see that the retainer that goes here is pretty loose. Man, I'm sorry about that. Maybe we can get it in there. Okay, so looking at this, the plug at least looks okay. We'll clean that up some. It's not burnt. You know, just a real quick visual inspection. It doesn't look bad. Not saying that it is or not, but it doesn't look it. I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to leave the plug alone. We're just going to change out the harness here. So that's the whole valve cover harness that goes all the way around the the valve cover. I'm gonna go ahead. It's actually a real easy process. You just pop those clips. That takes off the injector. Let's find the glow plug, which is down there. We'll have to pull that out. Glow plug harness. Boom. Boom. Just put your finger in there and hook it and pull it out. We should be ready to pull the harness out. There we go. Oh, shoot. You know what? I hope I pushed them out of the holes. And finally, that one. Try to get as little debris down in here as possible. And there we go. One valve cover harness out of the truck. Usually what happens is there's heat and resistance gets built up in here, and it causes this thing to go bad just over age, and they get a little fragile and just things happen. So you have to replace them. I don't know if there's really a time interval or a mileage interval, just you have to replace them. And we have the replacement right here. Good thing about it, if I do think that plug ends up being the problem, at least we got a replacement. We're gonna go ahead and slap this one in real quick. And hardest part's gonna be getting the glow plug, that glow plug connector back on. That will be the hardest thing because you really can't see down in there too well, so I have to use some pliers. And I'm hoping that doesn't have a rub mark on. No, that looks okay. All right, let me get this in, guys, and we'll get back with you here in a few minutes and show you the progress. Well, that didn't take very long, guys. We got the valve cover harness in. Got the valve cover harness in. You really can't see down in this mess, but didn't take very long to get it in, maybe 10 minutes. Did find something quite interesting. I'm gonna pull the air box off. And I don't think I've ever seen this before. This was definitely a new one. Get my parts up out the way here. Just thought I would share this with you guys. Put that back in there where I found it. All right, so looks like somebody decided to use this as either a mouse trap. I think a mouse lived in it. I'm not sure. I haven't really dug in there much, but there's all sorts of just odd little stuff. Oh, there's my swivel socket. I'm gonna need that. But yeah, I would say there was a creature living in here. So let's go ahead and get this thing started up. Let's see if it cleared up our issue, our misfire. Oh, fingers crossed that it's nothing more. But if it is, you know we can handle it. We'll get her back on the road. Okay. Whew. It's a warm day in Florida, like every other day. All right, weight starts out. Well, I can tell you that it has not fixed the miss yet. We've still got a dead miss. All right, if you guys have never worked on a power stroke before, know that the injectors are fired by high pressure oil. And that's all done by the high pressure fuel pump, high pressure oil pump. So if you ever have one missing, you have the valve cover off of it, you look to see if I can move this harness out of the way a little bit. What we're looking for is to see if the injector, like right there, I don't know if you guys can see that, that right there is like an exhaust out of the injector, and that is oil that's coming out. So if it's working, you know it's pumping oil out, you know the injector is good. You take a look back here at number 6. Look at number 6 right here. Look right there. You see it's not pushing any oil out at all. So that injector is not firing. So we have an injector issue more than we have a harness issue. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to get a hold of one of the parts stores. It's a Saturday afternoon. Just by chance, we're going to see if anybody happens to have one of these in stock, or if they can get it tomorrow, because I'd like to have this truck up and running for next week. So let me get on the phone, see if we can find an injector local. We've got an advance literally the next block over from the shop. So if they can get one today or in the morning, that would be fantastic. We get this thing running like it's supposed to. So let me get this truck shut off we'll get her shut down and make some phone calls. I'll get back to you guys and let you know what we found out. Okay guys, I found an injector at Advanced Auto Parts, literally next block over. So I went ahead and pulled out the injector. It's a $125 core charge. But I noticed something. That oil squirter right there is broken. I doubt that's going to come in the box, but we're going to go ahead and see. We'll go ahead and pull this one off. But imagine that oil squirter right there. See, it's broken. Right up in there. You can see it's cracked. So don't think that was part of the issue, and I don't imagine that it really is going to affect it too much, because once it's down there tight, the oil is just going to go under the valve cover. I'm not really worried about it. I'll go ahead and see if I can find one. It won't be that hard to replace once I do get one in hand. So we're going to go ahead and go to Advanced. Went ahead and pulled out the glow plug as well. The glow plug sits just to the right of that bolt, the hold down bolt right there. The hole is right there. So when we go to put the injector in, we're going to go ahead and just crank the motor over using the solenoid, throw the valve cover back on it, and let all that oil and everything go down inside, back down there, and return down into the engine, and hopefully clear that hole out and get all that fluid out. So we can go ahead and put it in so we don't hydrolock the motor when we put it back together and start it. So let's run down, go get our part, and get it, at least get this thing cleaned out through the hole there. One thing I did want to make sure, while I have the injector out, I want to make sure the copper ring came out of it. You can see, I just want to make sure that copper ring doesn't stay down in the head, because you double stack those, the injector won't sit right in the hole, and also it will leak out compression. Ask me how I know. Been there, done this once. All right guys, so I went ahead and put the valve cover back on. Just got it hand tight with a couple bolts. We'll go over here and we're going to jump the starter solenoid down that hole. We'll jump the starter solenoid and go ahead and push everything out the combustion chamber for number 6 hole, put everything back together and start it up. But as you can see, still got the injector out. Glow plug sitting over there somewhere. I don't remember where it's sitting actually. Oh, there, glow plug's right there. I'm testing it. We'll go ahead, get the oil out of the combustion chamber. We'll double check and make sure it's cleared out. And if it is, put the injector in it, fire this puppy up. We're gonna clean up some stuff before we put it back together, but we'll go ahead and clean that pipe up. It's disgusting. Clean the valve cover up, it was disgusting. And then we'll clean out the mouse trap out of the air box and we'll go from there. So let me crank this thing over. Let that drain out for a little bit. Go ahead and pull the valve cover off. Make sure that we don't have any more oil or fuel down in that combustion chamber on 6. Probably gonna be a little messy. We're probably gonna have some oil that hasn't made its way down yet. Woo, she was puffing. Okay, as you guys can see, we have poured a lot of stuff out. There's a lot of oil, a lot of nasty. I probably need to put the injector back in it. I didn't think about it, I'm stupid. It's still gonna be pumping oil whether that injector's in it or not. Dadgummit. All right guys, give me a few minutes, let me clear this mess back up and then put the injector in it and we'll start all over again. Now all we got left to do is get the excess oil and fuel out of the combustion chamber. So we're gonna go ahead and spin the motor over using the solenoid. It's real easy, just the 2 big posts. We're gonna short them out using the screwdriver. I don't have one of those fancy push button things, it's always worked for me. So let's get that knocked out and see how much of a mess it's gonna make. Remember, we're pushing all that fuel and oil that's down in the combustion chamber. And we push it out of the hole for the glow plug, which is basically the size of the tip of the injector, which is very small. So we're going to do this very slow and then eventually speed it up, start cranking up the RPMs as far as starting. That way we don't hydrolock it and bend a rod. So here we go. watch, you'll see a little bit of puff of smoke come out of there. There we go. Now she's venting. See there? That's the combustion escaping through the glow plug hole. Gonna do that another time or two because there was a whole lot of oil in that thing. We'll let that drain back down into the pan. Hopefully the top of the head will clean up a little bit. We'll do that one more time and then we should be able to hook up electronics to it and see if she fires up. Let the starter cool for a few seconds and then we'll do this again. All right, guys, we're about 8 hours in so far changing this injector. Got the injector changed and valve cover harness changed and the glow plug pulled out. Did all that in about an hour. For the last 7 hours, we've been trying to start this stupid thing. I can't get any oil coming out of the injectors, so it's not firing. It's not priming up the injectors to fire. Of course, so if you don't have that, you don't have fuel, can't get the truck started. On these old Power Strokes, you can't even put ether in them and fire them off of that. It has to have the fuel to fire. So we've been cranking and cranking and cranking and cranking and cranking, and kind of like the DeLorean, it's gonna fight me. So what I'm gonna do is gonna call it a night. We're gonna go ahead and charge the batteries overnight, put them on a trickle charge, because we've killed them about 4 times. So that's where we're at right now, kind of stuck in limbo land, just like the DeLorean, waiting on parts. At least I got all my parts for this. Now I'm just waiting on getting it started. So yeah, I'm gonna go home. Gonna have me a cold beverage. I'll sit back, edit this video, and get it up. I know I've been lacking some content lately, guys, but I've just been super busy here at the shop. We've got parts we're still waiting on for the DeLorean. I've had one supplier 2 weeks, and I'm still waiting on a bunch of stuff. So kind of been stuck, not being able to do much. Haven't had a whole lot of time to get content up. I'm gonna try to get some out this weekend, and just be patient, and we'll get all this stuff going. But first, I gotta get the service truck going because I need to be on the road with it next week. I got a big brake job to do on 2 of my trucks, and without the air and my tools on board, it's kind of hard to do it. I can do it out of the back of the pickup truck, but I don't want to. I'd rather have my service truck. So that's the goal, get this thing started hopefully tomorrow. That'll be on another video, show you what I did, how I did it. And yeah, anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give me a like, subscribe. We'll have a couple pictures up on Instagram, and if you guys want, go over there and check it out and see what we're doing. Probably give little pictures of stuff we have in here, just little tidbits of what we do. So I appreciate it, guys. Have a good night. Thanks.